Our brains don't hold on to what we can't handle. In my story, these things began at a young age for me. I shut off, I dissociated from my life at a very young age. I became a fighter, a warrior. I used to train with Marines, and they used to say, you stop, you die.
This is Vibe Science, a top 100 wellness podcast presented by the Radcast Network, breaking wellness barriers and making health truly personal. Here's your host, Ryan Alford.
Hello, and welcome to Vibe Science. I'm Ryan Alford, your host, joined my friend and co-host Chris Hansen in Miami. We like to say we're bringing the vibe to you, and in health and wellness, there are no alternatives. We're excited. Today, we have Olivia, the CEO of Olivia Young and Box and Flow. What's up, Olivia?
Hi, guys. Nice to be here.
Hey, we're glad you could join us.
Thank you.
We're, you came highly recommended as having the right vibe for our show.
So, I never get the middle area. It's either like highly recommended or like GTFO. Like, no. Yeah.
We love that.
Yes. We definitely didn't get any GTFO. We got the high vibes recommendation, which is all we could ask for. Where are we at today? I know we talked about this pre-episode. Where's home these days?
I like to say home is who I am, so it's not location based, and I am sitting in Austin, Texas.
Well, we like to embrace the holistic living here. I think your story kind of embraces that, living it to the fullest, top to bottom. But let's set the table for everyone listening on who exactly is Olivia?
Well, what a question. Always learning more about how to answer that. But just from like a tangible perspective, so I grew up in Miami Beach, and then I moved to New York City actually after college to go to culinary school. So I worked with celebrity chefs for 7 years, actually as brand director, not cooking, but I got a tip that to get involved in food writing, because I wanted to be able to get into food media. It would really give you an edge if you studied what you would be writing about. So went to culinary school, worked at Food and Wine magazine, and then went in-house for a celebrity chef as brand director, opening restaurants globally for 7 years. And also ran a consultancy on the side. And I knew I was an entrepreneur. There was like this fire in me, and I was dying to create. I just didn't know what it was. And so it finally became pretty clear when I was like sort of bored of staying out till 5 a.m. with like chefs drinking whiskey and eating steak. And I was like waking up at 5 a.m. to go run and box and do yoga. And so my like priorities weren't aligned with how I was spending most of my time working. And I was super dedicated. And I had a really amazing run opening restaurants in like Hong Kong and Istanbul and London, from the ages of 23 to 27, 28. And finally I was like, well, what do I want to bring to the world? And it was like, well, how do I spend my time? And most of my time was spent like boxing and doing yoga. And I realized that these two physicalities really shaped me. So boxing gave me like strength, and yoga allowed me to slow down and feel. And I wanted to serve others as I'd been like served in a way, because that like grit and softness, like that, strength and also like femininity was what allowed me to grow a team and, work for the former president of Merrill Lynch as a 23-year-old. So I quit my job. I signed a lease without ever having taught a fitness class before. I'd basically just written out what I thought this meant and was on like a piece of paper. I convinced people to work for me through Instagram and trained them in my method that I was afraid to teach, because I was so afraid to be vulnerable and seen like in front of a group of people without knowing if I was good. Because similar to cooking, you learn to cook by cooking. You learn to teach by teaching, but I was afraid. So signed a lease, painted the walls, hung bags up, convinced people to work for me, and opened my space. And didn't have a budget for PR, totally bootstrapped, and kind of relied on like full trust that the universe would like just carry me, because the whole mantra of the business called Box and Flow was facing your fight to find your flow. And there were no mirrors in the space. So it was really about, 9 rounds in a heavy bag to the beat of the music. You're going to learn something about yourself. And typically you're going to learn how fast you drop your hands.
We're talking with Olivia, founder and CEO of Live Young. So what happens when we get to Austin? Was it weird? Was it strange? Is that the tagline?
Keep Austin weird, yeah.
Yeah, keep it weird. Exactly. New York is so weird. I don't think a place is weird. I think the people that live there and like what happens in between is weird. But I totally embrace the weird, and I think that we're all so individually unique. If we would just embrace our weird, the world would be a way kinder, beautiful place, because I find that so much of the animosity and the anger that is in like this collective is because people aren't just fully themselves. And so they resent other people, because when you see someone that's like living fully, you're like, I want that, but like, no, fuck that. Like, and starts to judge and project, but that's a whole nother tangent. Live Young, though, is quite related. I didn't actually even realize that's my name, Olivia Young, until I was like 29, 30, because no one ever called me Liv. I always went by Olivia because I'm Olivia. And what I came to understand and realize is that Live Young to me means learning yourself to love yourself. And when I look back at my journey, it was always connected, like food, nourishment, like learning how to feed yourself is an act of self-love. And then this fitness modality that to me was never fitness, it was feeling of facing the internal fight to find flow, was learning yourself to love yourself. And so I didn't start at Live Young because, to be honest, it was always what I wanted, was to grow this like healing modality brand that had like food vertical, fitness vertical, apparel, and spirituality. But I wasn't brave. And I was brave enough to sign a lease. I wasn't brave enough to like stand up and be like, I'm a coach. I help people heal their lives. And I also hadn't done that work for myself. So the journey, New York to Austin, started in New York. I was in a relationship, and also like nothing was working. All my friends were getting married and having babies and like doing these things. And in the comparison culture, I was like, I want that, but I'm starting a business instead, because I just wasn't honest enough with myself and like who I was, because I had no conscious awareness of it. So I started fighting boxing when I was 20, started practicing yoga at 15, physically trying to like get energy out of my body. I didn't know why. So we talk about plant medicine on this. Can we talk about
please.
Please.
Okay.
Huge believer.
We own a plant-based medicine company.
Oh, amazing.
Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah.
Beautiful. That's what happened. Between New York and Austin, literally my life was stuck. COVID had shut down my business, and I was my business. I had no separation from, right? So if you would have said, who's Olivia? And I would have been like, I'm the founder of Box and Flow, which is like not who I am. It's just something that I've done in my past. So everything was stuck, to the extent that like I was getting a colonic, my body was stuck. And the woman said, I was sharing with her, and she's like, well, I do this thing called Bufo. And I was like, what's that? I'd never done a drug before except like smoke some weed in college, because something in me knew that these plants were meant to like heal me, not dissociate me. And so 5 days later, I was in Janis Joplin's old apartment in the Chelsea Hotel in New York City, smoking crystallized toad venom. So basically, they say when you're called, you answer, and there was like no option for me. It was like, what's that? Okay, toad kills your ego. I don't even know what that means, but like, what's his name? And she's like, here's the shaman's number. He's never in town, but text him. So I texted the shaman. He's like, I just got back from a 5-month sabbatical, and are you here this weekend? And I was like, sure. And so without doing any research, because if I did research, I wouldn't have shown up. I just showed up and basically smoked 5-MeO DMT, and everything in my life kind of combusted in the way of like nothing made sense. Because if you're familiar with 5-MeO DMT, it's a 20-minute psychoactive experience where your brain secretes the same molecule your brain secretes before you die. And my lights went out. Like, it was like, and faces and places and feelings. And then I woke up and I was like, what the fuck?
Woke up and you were like,
Whoa.
Yeah.
that's how it was for me. Like, oh my God, relief.
Right. And then this like trustful and surrender that there was something so much greater than me holding me like above and below. And if I just got off this hamster wheel, if I just took the deep breath, if I just stopped trying so hard, that the path would reveal itself.
You know, Chris has had his journeys on, and I can't speak to it, but everyone we speak to, you know, that have had these experiences with psychedelics or, you know, other compounds and things like that, kind of they all talk about it in the same way, like this eye-opening, in a way, of you thought you knew what you knew, and, you know, you come out on the other side.
Yeah.
Sounds like it was similar for you.
Yeah, and you know, it's one of these things, you know, live young, learning yourself to love yourself. The way that I hold space now, whether it's with plant medicine or somatic healing or just through coaching, energy work, I've studied so many different pools at this point because I don't think it's one way, and I don't think plant medicine is for everyone. So I like to speak to it as like it was a tool, just like I have now this like wild toolkit that allowed me to see, understand certain parts of myself, and the work to learn yourself is all the space in between, because you have to learn to live with that truth, whatever truth is. And I think that's the hard part. But once you learn that and learn to live with that, like this idea of loving self, when you then live in a space with love, everything is love. Like, I love everything. I love everyone. I love, you know, and like food tastes different. You know, music, you hear the music. You, in every way, like just speaking to you guys, just like, I love you in the sense of like, you're people with your own stories and your own visions and missions, and like, you're a dad, and, you know, you believe in love, you know, there's one forever. It's just that I see this through this lens of possibility now, when before I could not.
It's interesting, you know, you had suppressed, you know, these things, and we do that, like as humans, we suppress things, we push things down in a way because we don't know how to live with them. But, you know, that only lasts so long until it's going to bubble up, or it's just manifesting in different ways, and you just live a very unhealthy. Some people, it maybe never fully come up or come out, but they live in some way miserably, you know, their whole lives. But the trick, like you said, is you go through these things, and it's learning how to live with it, right? And how to, I don't know. It's like you're never embracing it, but I don't know. You've kind of.
I mean, I'll tell you something very strange. Like I wouldn't be sitting here as I am, who I am now, if all of these things did not occur in my life. And so when you say not embracing it, it's a strange relationship to what was, because when, you know, our brains don't hold on to what we can't handle. And so in my story, these things began at a young age for me. And so I shut off, I dissociated from my life at a very young age. I became a fighter, a warrior. You know, you mentioned before of like this rat race in New York City. Like I used to train with Marines, and they used to say, you stop, you die. And like, I was like this little, like 100-pound girl that was running up 12 flights of stairs with water jugs, like in New York City. And I had this in my brain, you stop, you die, because that was also a manifestation of my PTSD. And any relationship I was in, I would run because I was so afraid. You know, I lived in this fear. And when I look at the other side of that, we can call it the gifts of trauma, or, you know, what our experiences or how they've shaped us, because I had such like a need and a fire and a need to prove, I signed a lease without ever teaching a class in New York fucking City. Like I had this gall that like, I just did it because I did it. Like nothing could stop me. So I do believe that there are reasons, and, you know, things happen, and there's a gift in everything.
Yeah. Well, I like to say it didn't happen to you, happened for you.
Totally.
You know, and against the other philosophies, but like, whether you're a pity party person or someone that's blaming everything else, but, and that's it. Look, sitting here as a man that didn't get raped at 17, I mean, I don't even feel qualified to say that to some people, but I do hear it from you that that's what you're saying, though, is that you've turned that pain into progress. What are we doing with Live Young? Let's describe what you've built, what you're doing, all of the components of what that is.
So, Live Young, learning yourself to love yourself. It is, it's basically, I like to say it's like a community of lovers. And in my journey too, I was like, everything for me has come through me. Like, I'm Jewish and I was called to go to church. Like, it was just a voice. And I was like, okay, like, what church? What do you mean? And so by going to church, it was like, I recognized this collective pain that was seeking a greater connection to safety, to love, to belonging. And so Live Young to me, and it's building into this vision of everything comes back to love. I don't believe it's about denomination, religion. We're all rooted and connected in what we were born with, and that is love. A baby is born and everyone's like queuing over them. They don't have a resume. We don't know, their partner's name. We don't have their tax return. So Live Young is, it's how I coach, it's how I heal, and it's how I connect people. So through these tools and modalities that I've learned, so whether it's energy work and in shamanism, plant medicine, just one-on-one healing containers, to facilitate people learning themselves, to break down all these barriers that are shutting them off from love. Because in all of my personal research and, interaction with the world, I found that you'll never find anyone that says, oh no, I have too much love. Thank you so much. Like, keep it. So it's like the one thing. Love is the one thing I believe we all want more of. We all can use more of. Chris,
any thoughts here? I know I've been taking over most of the episode here.
Well, thank you, Olivia. You're literally speaking my language this whole time. I'm like resonating.
The love language.
So, yeah, like seriously, and I don't mean this in a bad way, but I almost think you had to have dove into the plant medicine to fully understand what you're saying to a degree. Because so much of it, I'm like, yes. And even, I'll start with just your workout philosophy. I feel the exact same way, where I do weightlifting, and then I go do like a Pilates class where I'm getting this, because part of me is listening, and like Ryan said, weightlifting, I'm probably getting a lot of anger. That's my boxing, right? I'm amped up in my masculine. And then the Pilates, I'm slowing down, I'm in my body, I'm thinking, I'm breathing. It's like, I need that balance. I need that complete knowing that you can fight, right? But be in the flow where it's like, I don't need to pick every fight. I don't need to get involved in every one. And I think about this now, especially when I have issues with business and I want to just go full masculine anger. And it was killing me more than anything. I mean, I feel like all of us have lived as entrepreneurs in the hustle, and there was almost a sense of pride to it. And I think that was just a time in society. We talked about this, Ryan, like the Gary Vee culture and hustle, work harder. Fuck that. Not anymore. I can't do that. My body, I felt horrible. There was no balance. I mean, we're operating straight out of scarcity and lack, where I think, like you said, fear is the root of everything. Even if you go home and I'm having a beer every night, what am I avoiding? What am I running from? And now I think I even use just healthier ways. Like, say I get in a cold plunge, like that's less physical than mental for me. But that's because part of me is like fearful. I don't want to get in that. It doesn't feel good. So everything you said, I totally resonate with. Awesome. Great story.
What's the makeup of like the people that you're helping? Like, how they come to you? What is that proxy or person or, look like that are coming to you? And then what's the transformation you're seeing, or what are some, maybe not naming names, but like, the positive effects you've seen from it?
I love this question because it's something in like marketing exercises, you get, and oftentimes you're told like it's the younger version of you that needed you the most. And I hear that, and that is, a lot of my clients are younger versions of me, and I believe we're energy that are just like I'm wearing a meat suit, you know, like my soul has lived so many lives that what I speak and how I heal has nothing to do with like my 37-year-old body. So my client is also like a 53-year-old woman or a 42-year-old man. Like it's anyone that is open to understanding themselves because they believe in the potential and possibility of themselves. But there's a lot of fear there. And I never actually thought about like how courageous it was to smoke toad venom in Janis Joplin's old apartment without any background until last week. I went into a Cambo ceremony. Have you guys heard of Cambo?
Yeah.
I have not.
You have not. Okay, so Cambo is also a toad, but it is not a psychoactive toad. It is somatic. So soma is body. I didn't know this when I walked in either, because if I research, I won't show up. I'm just like, yes or no. Okay, yes. So I show up. So Cambo it's a purge, and it's wild. So basically they burn points on your body, and they remove the first layer of skin. And in that burn, they create a paste that is from the sweat of a different toad. It looks like wasabi, and they put it in the burn. And within a minute, like hot sweat, heartbeat, like you feel like, what is happening? And the medicine goes exactly in your body where you need to heal. And at some point you purge from whatever part you're purging, and you're fasted, have drank a lot of water. So when you purge, you can actually, as gross as it is, but I don't think it's gross, it's our body, you can see if there's like overgrowth bacteria from your gut, or if your liver is holding on to whatever else. And it's literally just purging the energy that you can't access. Just like, you know, plant medicine, it is a plant medicine, but through the body. So after like 25 minutes, they take the paste off, and within a minute, you're good.
That is fascinating.
You
I
get
have not heard of that
violently
one.
ill for like 20 minutes.
Totally. And it was,
I'll probably do it this year. I've been holding off for a while.
you know, if I had known what it was, and I'd heard of it, but I was never, you know, called. And I think it is so fascinating, back to this idea of like love, that these molecules are like not necessarily in our backyard, unless, Chris, you might be in the Amazon with your plant. But like, you know, there's these natural wonders of the world, like psilocybin, mushrooms, like a teacher plant. There has been nothing more transcendental for me in my life than mushrooms. And I always go back to like Mario, like trust the fungi, like trust the fungi, like trust the fungi, or toad medicine or ayahuasca, whatever else. But that these are straight from like our source. And so back to, you know, how I work with people, I believe when you come back to the space of alignment and love, you realize, and for me, I realized, like I mentioned, I was called to go to church. Like I was being held by this spirit, by this source. And then I realized like, oh no, but it's as above and so below, like connecting to Mother Earth too. So this energetic connection of like father energy, mother energy, to come back home to wholeness from that which we came from. So, I don't even know what question I just answered, but if you're wooing with me, thanks for playing.
I'm wooing. You're saying things in a way that I would wish I could verbalize, that I can't quite when people ask about my experiences and whatnot, but nailed it.
Thank you.
Where's I think I know the answer to this without asking it. I think it's a self-discovery journey, and you know, you're going wherever it pulls you, but where are things headed for you?
So I'm working on a book.
Okay.
To both share my experience and help guide people back home, because like, again, you know, I don't want to say it's hard to verbalize how I work, and but similarly, I hold space for people to come back to self-trust. Because when we're operating from lack, as you said, Chris, we're making decisions to either prove ourselves worthy or to validate our experience, or, so many people operate from a core wound of, not being seen by their parents. And so they're like chasing this invisible thing. So like, is that good enough? Is that good enough? And they're looking around at these people and seeking validation because they never got it from their source, from who created them. And if we can pull that out of the darkness, out of the places that we weren't willing to look before, I don't only work with plant medicine. Most of what I do is not with plant medicine. It's through a lot of intuitively, merging with your subconscious. Different story. But if we can start to see those parts of us that we've shamed and we don't necessarily own, we can bring ourselves back in a place of alignment. And once you change that pattern, everything in your life changes. So I'm working on a book about both my journey and all of the lessons I've learned to come back to love. I have courses which are basically just that. They're like a life intake. I can't do the work for you, but I can guide you and hold you in it, in your unfurling. And I think for me, that was like the most important part, is that for someone with trauma that didn't know she had it, I always felt alone. And so for me, the way I work with people is this ever-present reminder. I say like Ted Lasso meets Tinkerbell, like I got you. I just do, because I know what it feels like to feel that way. And if I could do anything with my, life moving forward, it's to remind everyone and everything that they're not alone, that they're just not, that not even that I'm with them. It's that something so much greater is holding you. So once you surrender that control, you open up to all that is possible when you stop shutting yourself off from it.
I love it, Olivia. Where can everyone keep up and learn about the book to come and everything else?
So you can find me on Instagram at Liv Young. I share a lot of sort of nuance of how to create more love in your life. My website is livyoung.co. And if you want to book a 15-minute consultation call or ask me questions, this is intriguing. I would love to chat more and learn how I can hold and help anyone that is interested.
We really appreciate you coming on and being so transparent and open.
Thank you. It was fun. I'm so grateful for the opportunity, and this kept coming up for me, so I'm going to just share it, talking about masculine and feminine energy. Like, even the fact that you say, like, I'm a dad, Ryan, like, there's such a softness and beauty in that. And so I think when we think of, this duality of like yoga or femininity and masculinity, like, we all have to play multiple roles in our lives that demand different parts of ourselves. And so I think that's like the best part of the human experience, is owning all parts of ourselves. So that requires learning and then loving. So thank you.
That was a learning lesson just for me. So I felt that. So I appreciate it. And if you want to learn more, go to vibesciencepodcast.com. You'll have the highlight clips, show notes, all the links to Olivia's information. And hey, if you want to learn more about yourself, you know how to find her. I think a fascinating discovery could be had for everyone. Any final words, Chris, today?
No, just thank you, Olivia. I feel fired up after your story. It's empowering, and I just love the angle you're coming at it from. So
thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. We really appreciate Olivia. We appreciate you listening. Please like or share your interest with your friends and family. We welcome them to Vibe Science, where we're trying to bring you to your highest vibe. We'll see you next time.
Content discussed on this show is provided for reference and educational purposes. The content is not an attempt to practice medicine or provide specific medical advice. Always consult your personal physician for medical advice and proper diagnosis.
Thanks for listening. This is Vibe Science. To learn more or watch full episodes, visit vibesciencepodcast.com. Here's to discovering your highest vibe.